Everyone can cook. Is it everyone can cook or anyone can cook?
Anyone can cook.
Anyone can cook, but not anyone can make a cocktail, because Emily has failed miserably on this night, so pour
It's really
one out
bad.
for a real one. You did, it's involving pickle juice, and that to me already sounds like a recipe for disaster, but
Well, I love pickle juice. You're not a pickle girly, are you?
I'm not. I wish I was.
Because you're not even a mustard girly, and that's like an integral part.
Nope. I'm a garlic girl, but that's, low bar.
Yeah, no, I fucked up. This, I won't say it's as bad as the one that, what was it? We did it for like San Junipero or some shit like that.
Yeah,
Or no,
it
it
was
wasn't
just
that.
Midori.
It was But I'm a Cheerleader. And it was like Midori and like grapefruit juice, and it was horrid.
What was it called? It was called like a slutty cunt.
Shady lady. A shady lady. That's a tough thing, because it had such a good name, and it was the greatest letdown of my existence.
Does yours have a name?
No, so I essentially just made, and I had done this twice before, and it turned out really good. So I was like, okay, I'm good now. I can make this. Wrong, not true. But it's essentially just martini, but instead of olive juice, because I think olives are kind of gross, I use pickle juice. And then I put a little, like, splash of hot sauce in it, because that's fun and sexy.
Ooh.
Yeah, right? But, like, the gin that I got is way too floral for it, and the pickle juice is not, like, vinegary enough, so it just doesn't balance well.
Well, we're both failing on the drinking front tonight, because I tried to open a bottle of wine before we hopped on to pour myself a little glass for the pod, as one does, and I used one of those wine openers that you, like, pierce the cork, and then you, like, pump air into it, and the air pressure, like, makes the cork come out of the bottle.
Fuck no.
It made the entire, it was one of those big bottles of wine that's, like, 2.5 liters.
Yo.
Like a family-sized bottle of wine that I was planning on drinking by myself that exploded like a bomb all over my kitchen. My freaking kitchen smells like a chicken piccata now. Everything is soaked with white wine. I'm sure my cats are licking the floor, having the time of their life. No, I'm just kidding. I cleaned
Winston and
everything
Bean are
up,
gonna be drunk by the time you get back out there.
zooted.
What are you drinking tonight then? Anything?
This was the remnants of the glass of wine that I had opened, the bottle of wine I had opened and had finished while watching Ratatouille. And
Of
I was
course.
like, oh, I'll open another bottle, for the pod. But I think this was maybe like a higher power telling me that I needed to have a nicer white wine than a family-sized bottle of Woodbridge to commemorate this beautiful film. So I guess we're just going...
Fair enough.
We're just going with nothing tonight. But yeah, you and I, anyone can cook, but not anyone can prepare drinks for a podcast. And our podcast that you're listening to is called The Swamp. It is an acronym.
Stands for some whack-ass movie podcasting.
My name is Dara, and as always, I'm here with my lovely co-host, Emily, and we are kicking off Disney December, which...
This is a stretch for us.
Trust that we are going to do our best to stretch the definition of what is Disney as thinly as possible. I was watching the film.
Here's the thing. We don't subscribe to the rat.
Okay, here's the thing though. I was kind of laughing is we've actually done like a decent, our first ever episode of this podcast was a Disney movie.
Shut up.
We've done kind of a lot.
Was that before? Yeah, no, you're right.
We've done a fair amount. The Muppet movie. We've done National
Princess
Treasure,
Diaries.
which is a Disney movie. Princess Diaries.
I don't consider that Disney though.
Well, yeah. So I think are going to kind of stretch the definition of what Disney is, because anything like right now they own Marvel. So could we do a Marvel? We're not going to. But like Marvel,
I'd rather fucking
Disney
kill
now.
myself.
Any new Star Wars property is technically Disney now. It's wild, but we're gonna make the most of this. But we are gonna do some Disney movies for you this December, and we're kicking it off with I think what is objectively probably one of the better, if not one of the best Disney movies, which is Ratatouille. Is that good? No?
Yeah, that was actually really good.
Somebody made one of those memes that's like a list of things, and it's like tag yourself, and it was like Swamp Edition, and one of them was like making fun of everyone's accents, which I feel like you can, in the same way that I think that it's fine to make fun of Italian Americans, Like you can be mean to Italian Americans because like they don't think that they're white and that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like no. Like Ariana Grande like, thinking she's like not white
Hmm.
passing is fucking ridiculous. So you can make fun of Italian Americans. I feel like as an American, I guess I have to owe some respect to the French because they are like technically our longest lasting ally. Like we wouldn't be a country without them. Like I owe some respect to the French, I guess.
They kind
And
of
as far
fucked
as,
up
like,
on that.
but they do have like culture, whereas we as Americans are like brutally uncultured. So I guess I have to like, whatever. But I do think going like ho ho ho, we baguette is so funny. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Like
hysterical.
I have
Absolutely.
one of my closest friends a couple years ago when she started dating her boyfriend, he grew up in France and came to America when he was like a teenager or whatever. So he'd, been in America for a while, but he grew up
Hot.
in France. And the first time I was going to meet him, I was like, before, when you do the prep, you like brief your friend on like, I'm going to introduce you to the significant other. And I was like, if I do like the like ha 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 bonjour, do you want a cigarette? Oui oui. And like is he gonna like love that or hate that? And she was like, maybe don't do that.
Uh-huh.
But like, and obviously I still did it anyways. I was like, I think I went like
course.
Ratatouille. You want to watch Ratatouille? And he took it fine. He was chill about it.
Good.
Oh, love Jake. Shouts out Jake, Rachel's French boyfriend, who definitely tolerated my like bad cultural impressions. But Ratatouille, I feel like you have kind of a deeper, richer history with this movie than I did, because I actually did
Simply
not
not
like
true.
this. Oh, really? I thought, doesn't Alyssa love this?
Alyssa does, but I am not her. We are twins. We are not the same person.
But you grew up in the same house, so wasn't it?
It wasn't one that we watched all the time. What were you gonna say? You grew up what? Not having seen this very much?
I didn't like it. As a kid, I did not like this movie.
See, I feel like as I've gotten older, and I think it's just because the movie has like a lot of like over the last like handful of years, over the last 5 years, for some reason, it's gotten so much more hype, and there was that TikTok musical and all that shit, and everyone loves to claim, like, Ratatouille is their favorite movie, or their favorite, like, Disney movie and all that shit. And do not get me wrong, it is a good movie, but I think it's overrated.
Yeah, I can see how maybe in the past few years, especially with that the TikTok musical, definitely a big thing, and the sound of like the "Jante ole oppa,"
Oppa!
yeah, that one blowing up definitely I think could maybe create to some overhype. But I think that this is really one of the only Pixar movies that I can confidently say that I really enjoy watching it as an adult, and I have no nostalgia connected to it. Like my enjoyment of this
I don't.
is purely because I enjoy watching it as an adult. And I think it has something to do with my husband Henry really loves this movie because he loves to cook, and he really loved this movie as a kid. And he like grew up watching a lot of like Julia Child and cooking shows, so I think it like resonated more with him. So he, I think, has a lot more nostalgia, so he really enjoys it, and then I think I just like it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Julia Child, there's not many critiques of this movie that I have, but I just think that this movie would be infinitely better if they replaced the character of Gusteau with just Julia Child.
Yeah, it's totally a reference. Like he's
Well,
totally
exactly.
supposed to be, at least in like method or like ideology, like connecting cooking to a greater moral clause of like anyone can cook. Julia Child definitely had that exact same sort of effect with her cooking. Like anyone can cook, and it doesn't need to be like expensive or fancy. Like you can cook good food with like accessible ingredients, which is really good. But why did they erase her like that? Why'd they make her some man?
For real. Come on.
Gross. I guess for the element of like who is Linguini's father, you can't really do that with a mom because like it comes out. So like
that's
the mystery of
from your
who's the
puss.
mother, a little less
Doesn't quite work.
air of mystery.
Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes ever is I will try my best not to continually bring up Henry this episode, but
No,
Henry
please.
does.
We
he
love
loves
Henry,
this movie.
your husband, friend of the pod, expert culinary chef, and by expert I mean everyone's favorite home cook.
Yeah, he's not a professional, but he
should be.
But but he also says that, if you put yourself in the business of cooking, you won't enjoy doing it at home, which I could
Yeah,
totally see. So I
exactly.
appreciate,
It's
not
you make shit money and you get a coke problem.
Yeah, exactly. We were talking about how Linguini, like freaking out in the kitchen, nobody
Coked
would bat
up.
an eye in real life because they were like, oh yeah, he's just coming down. Like it's still early. He's just coming
Yeah,
down from yesterday. Like,
yeah, yeah.
um,
Give him a couple more bumps and he'll be all right.
but one of my favorite Julia Child quotes, one of my like favorite quotes ever. I just think it's a really great piece of advice, and it's something that Henry told me while I was trying to parallel park my car, and
Oh my god.
he was like, Dara, it's like Julia Child says, it's all about the courage of your convictions. And
Oh my gosh.
she's talking about chopping a potato and like knife skills basically. Like you don't have to be trained, you just have to be confident. Just do it with confidence and you'll do it right. And so I think about that quote like just all the time. It's just the courage of your convictions, and it's like fake it till you make it, right? Anything that you're
Yeah.
doing, if you just kind of do it with gusto and confidence in yourself, it'll end up. And I'm kind of an anxious, kind of insecure person, so I think that is, I can't parallel park. But if you just say the courage of your convictions, you mentally blast back to driving school when you were 15. You're like, yeah, I can parallel park, and then you still hit somebody's car and scoot away. But
That's such a good quote. Oh my god.
yeah, and I mean, I think that this movie has a really great take on, presenting a nice message to kids
Of
and
course.
people and viewers, and then also a really good, presentation of cooking, because it is that kind of Julia Child philosophy, which
Yes.
I always appreciate. Like, it doesn't have to be fancy. Anyone can do it. You just have to, like,
Do it.
yeah.
Hmm.
But I guess for a recap, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, basically. I mean, essentially, there's a mouse colony living in this woman's house.
Rat.
Yeah, sorry. Oh my god, Jesus. Sorry, rat colony. Um, living in this woman's house, and then Remy, our main character, also a rat, has a passion for cooking, sneaks into her kitchen all the time to like experiment, play with her food kind of thing, just really like hone his chef skills. He gets caught one day. The colony has to mass evacuate into the sewers in France. Remy gets separated from the group, and ends up in Paris, underneath, was it Gusteau's restaurant, his idol, Gusteau.
Mhm.
And essentially goes and meets this like kid Linguini who's like trying to get a job there. And basically, in some sort of little kerfuffle kind of thing, ends up making a beautiful soup. Linguini needs a hand because he can't cook. It's a whole thing. And he ends up controlling Linguini by the hair. Everyone knows this. If you don't know this, go watch the fucking movie. And they're just participating in this little farce where Remy goes and controls Linguini like a puppet. The restaurant gets extremely successful. The head chef is like on to them. They gaslight the fuck out of him the entire movie.
Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss.
Yeah.
For sure.
Uh-huh. And then what is it? Like it comes to like a head, like pretty far into the movie where they're gonna have a food critic come and like taste all the food and like give it a rating and all that shit. And there's like this whole thing with Remy goes and like he lets all the rats into the kitchen to get food and all that shit and betrays Linguini, and Linguini's having like a little stardom like go to his head. Also the coke. They have a tiff, they make up, they serve this beautiful plate of ratatouille to
The titular ratatouille.
to the food critic, and basically
He loves it.
all is well. He loves it. He has a little childhood flashback. It's really visceral. And then they open their own restaurant, and that's the movie.
Yeah, they open their own restaurant because their current restaurant gets shut down by the health inspector. And
Who they
honestly,
kidnap.
the main antagonist of this film is, what's his name? Skinner? Chef Skinner? Maybe?
I think.
Something. He is super reasonable for not wanting food that's been touched by rats. That's like,
Here's the thing.
honestly...
here's the thing. It's like there's like a lot of talk in this movie about like the French hating rats and all that shit. Being like seeing Remy on the street and being like, "Ooh, God!" Or that woman whose house they were living in the start pulls out a
Oh my
gun.
god.
Sharpshooter. This woman is sniping rats left and right. Um, and I don't know.
In what world is that your execution method?
I love it.
Shotgun.
I love it. I love it. But like they make it seem like the Parisians are like so like, oh God, rats. When if you've ever seen like a video of someone like walking through like Paris, there's like a horde of rats on the street. People will walk right through it. Like
They're
no
like
problem.
squirrels.
Exactly. They're like squirrels. No one is fucking fazed by a rat. Like, and also like, have you ever worked in a kitchen? I don't think
Me,
you have.
no.
No. But anyone that works in a kitchen knows, like, as clean as your kitchen is, it's gonna be fucking gross. You know what I mean?
The kitchen in this movie is so fucking perfect, and
It's
it itches
hot.
my brain.
It's so hot, dude.
The layout of it, oh, the counter
The
space,
copper
that they
pots
have,
and pans, and like all of the pipes. Ooh,
and just the way that I mean, no kitchen, no matter how nice a restaurant is, no kitchen is that spacious. Like restaurant back kitchens
No.
are fucking cramped and
especially
you
in
know,
like Paris. Be
I don't know,
serious.
but there's every scene in that kitchen just like it itches my brain in such a way of all of the copper in the countertops
It's perfect.
and everyone's chopping. Literally the hottest moment in any, like, everyone's like, oh, Disney moms, oh, Miss Incredible has a fat ass. No. The hottest thing anyone has ever done in a Disney movie is when, what's her name, Colette, she fucking chops that celery like a bad bitch. She scoops it up onto her knife, and then she plops it in the soup, and then she says, this is how you do it. No one is doing it like her. She is did you have a crush on her as a kid? Because I
No.
really did. I was
No.
like, that bitch... That bad bitch with
You
the
had
purple
like
hair.
you had like the pixie fairy type, because did you not have a crush on like Alice from like
Yeah.
Twilight?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That was definitely more your type. It wasn't for me, but
I feel like she is like every bisexual girl, and Linguini is every bisexual girl's boyfriend.
yeah.
Like, she's
I
like
see them
a
come
hot
into
bitch
Trader
with, like,
Joe's. Dude, they come into Trader Joe's every fucking day.
she's like got like a hot like purple bob, and he like is 6'4" and like doesn't have bones. And you're kind of like, what? Like, you're like, okay, you two, and then, you know, maybe he can cook, so there's something
Yeah.
there. But if he had like little glasses, if he had those little wire rim glasses that every bisexual girl's boyfriend has, then that would
Over.
really. But it's
See,
cracking me up.
As much as like the Copper Kitchen did it for you, it was the floating rat village for me. Something about that.
When they're escaping, when they're like playing jazz and shit.
Yeah. Like their
Oh.
new colony, like in the sewer, kind of goes hard.
It was giving really Flushed Away.
Yeah,
Do you
for
remember
sure.
that movie?
Not really,
Yeah, that movie
but-
came out the year prior. It was about just like rats that got flushed down the sewer and had like a rat colony in the sewer.
That's the hard claymation one, right?
Yeah, starring Timothy Chalamet as the main rat. I'm just kidding.
Could have fooled me.
I was just gonna say I was really impressed with their escape method when the lady pulls out the Glock and starts ripping, just
Bro, more rats
shooting
should have
the
died.
rats.
That was a fucking shotgun. More rats should have died. There was no bodies left.
I know, like shrapnel.
Really?
Shrapnel should have exploded into. But they had a escape plan because they
yeah.
had little rafts ready to go, and their little thing. And I was watching this.
They're not an unorganized colony. They might eat garbage, but they have a plan.
I was watching this with Henry, and if I had $1 for every time he said, "Oh, this level of the GameCube Ratatouille game was so hard," I'd have $6 because when they were all escaping, he said that you had to assemble the raft from whatever trash, and then you had to escape while you're getting shot at. And he said the same thing about when you're Remy and you're getting in the kitchen, you have to jump from cart to cart without getting caught or whatever.
Stop.
He was like, yeah, this.
Because that, oh my god, visually that scene, that's one thing that I will give this movie is there's just so much that just hugs my brain and gives it a little kiss, you know what I mean? But that scene specifically where Remy's like finally found himself like in Gusteau's kitchen for the first time and he's just bobbing and weaving, like trying not to like get killed and trying to like escape out the window, really does it for me.
I think the score adds a lot as well. This movie, I think, is beautifully scored, and I think there are moments where I'm like, this score sounds like the way the food it is being prepared.
Yeah.
It's so good. But that, I think that scene specifically, I go right to like the song that's playing while he's like dashing around, and definitely melds really well. But the visual thing that is my favorite in this movie is when Remy is describing how different food tastes and it goes to black, and then behind him are like these like synesthesia type color swirls, and he's like, oh, this is what a strawberry tastes like, and it's like this, and this is what cheese tastes like, and then you eat them together and it's like jazz. And like,
Have you ever seen, like, there's a woman on TikTok who's done that, because she, like, will actually, like, hook her brain up to a monitor and you can see it visually.
That's
it's
cool.
like, it is, like, the same thing. Yeah, it's really sick.
And I love when he shows his brother, he's trying to explain to his brother, like, oh, this is how you can, like, appreciate,
and he kind of gets it.
And it's almost like, it's like a faded glimmer of what Remy has, and that's, I think, just such a great way to describe, like, how, like, having a palate, or, like, being able to, feel those certain things within, like, tasting food. It makes me want to eat a fucking grape with a piece of cheese. So I don't really fuck with grapes. So like a little piece of fruit with a piece of cheese so bad, because I'm like, I'm gonna eat it. And it's gonna be like jazz in my mouth.
Jazz. One detail that I really liked about this movie, and I don't know if it was intentional or not, but the name Linguini Alfredo. Mm-hmm. So basically, like, and this is like a very American thing, like Alfredo is not a thing. It's not a thing. Like, if you, like, people will, like, go to Italy and all that shit, and like, someone please correct me if I'm wrong, because I will not say that anything we ever say on this podcast is
factually
like, a well-based fact. Yeah. But, like, people, like, ask for, like, Alfredo is not, like,
a thing.
A sauce that was, like, created, like, in Italy. I don't think it was created in France. I think it is a manufactured good from, like,
I bet
American capitalism.
My very slim knowledge of food would tell me that the closest thing to a genuine Alfredo, like, that you would get would be, like, a cacio e pepe, which is, like, a peppery, cheesy sauce that would be, kind of Alfredo texture, but, like, not, you wouldn't call it that.
Yeah. Yeah, but, like, Alfredo is not, like, an actual dish, which, like, makes it, like, the idea of that being, like,
his name?
Linguini's name, who is not, like, an actual cook in the movie, like, seems like so, like, if that is actually what happened, and someone please, like, fucking fact check me.
Galaxy brain.
That's so genius. That's so fucking genius.
Oh, bonsoir! It's Jen back for... How do you say chocolate or vanilla in French? Does anyone know?
Chocolat?
No, I don't. I don't know. I took Spanish in high school. The only French I know is bonsoir, which is my favorite word of any language ever. But Jen is here. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Oui. Very good.
Très bien.
I think that's Spanish. Is that French too? Oh, great. So you're here for Chocolate or Vanilla, a game of your invention. You say two things. We all say which one we like better. Can I guess the theme? I promise I haven't looked at it, but you do a theme sometime. Can I guess the theme?
You can guess the theme.
Is it fictional rats and mice?
No, that would have been good, though.
If it was...
That's what Fuck Stuart Little. I'll say it.
Oh, I hate that guy. So, I feel like there's just enough fictional rats and mice that you could have done it.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. I felt in my heart that was going to be the truth.
My heart of hearts.
I'm sorry to, like, steal the thunder.
I was a big Ralph S. Mouse fan.
Ralph S. Mouse, yeah, on the motorcycle?
Yep.
So what is the theme?
Oh, the theme is, okay, so I need to tell you that I am so excited for Disney December because I am a Disney fan.
You are a Disney adult.
Mm-hmm. I am a Disney adult.
Yeah. You went, which by definition, you went to Disney World without any children.
That is correct.
Yeah.
But don't make it sound like I go all the time.
No, but you and a group of other adults went to Disney and you did not bring your kids. That makes you a Disney adult.
Great time. We had a great time. But these are Disney and Pixar films pre-Ratatouille and post-Ratatouille.
Okay.
So,
Oh, okay.
I rock with
So
this.
prior to-
BR and CR, like
Yeah.
like BC and AD before Remy and after Remy.
Yes.
Okay.
So 2007 is
Pre
my
and
cutoff
post.
line.
Love it.
Great.
Okay. So first one is
Chocolate or vanilla?
chocolate or vanilla.
Sorry, I didn't mean you were gearing up to say something other than that, weren't
No,
you?
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
Chocolate or vanilla.
Chocolate.
This movie makes me want to choose chocolate, but I'm still gonna stick to my guns. Say vanilla.
Chocolate for me. Next one, Snow White or Frozen.
Neither really are my faves, but I guess I'll pick Snow White because I feel like maybe like a longer lasting impact. Also, wasn't that like one of the first Disney like movies, like fully length animated features?
It was the first.
Yeah, so I'll pick Snow White. You know, despite its faults, Frozen never really did it for me.
I'll give it to Frozen on this one. Actually, wait, it's Maleficent in Snow White?
No, Maleficent and Sleeping Beauty.
Sleeping Beauty,
Oh.
just the old
The
witch.
evil queen in the mirror.
Oh,
is
yeah.
in Snow White.
Way less cool.
Yeah,
of a villain,
no,
for sure.
I'll stick with Frozen then. It feels like it had more. Nah, I can't even say more of an impact, but like an equal impact.
I'm gonna go with Snow White because of the dwarfs.
Yeah, hi ho, hi ho.
And I love a group of people who all have a different superpower.
Sneezy, sleepy. My superpower is being so sleepy.
Next one is Cinderella or Tangled.
I've never seen Tangled
Me
all the way
neither.
through, actually.
Oh.
And everyone really raves about it, but I've just never really gotten around to it. So I guess I have to say Cinderella for that reason. But I did really love the Cinderella sequel as a kid growing up, Cinderella 2, which is like a bunch of side
What?
stories about all the mice. Yeah, it's like about all the like the mice and the stepsisters and stuff. It's like not
We've
even
talked
really
about this at least
Cinderella.
2 times on this podcast before.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I was afraid of repeating a bunch of stuff because
who cares?
I do Disney references all the time.
I will go Cinderella because it's classic, and also because I've never seen Tangled either.
All right, I will go Cinderella too because I agree, definitely a classic. Little Mermaid or Moana?
Ah, Moana. That's like the classic The Little Mermaid is like the least like feminist film ever made. Like, you know, she literally
It's so
loses
bad.
her voice for a man. But I did live with a group of boys in college. At one point, it was like me and 4 boys in an apartment, and Emily knows we went to high school with one of them, Cole Amadeo, dearly beloved Cole, would just put on The Little Mermaid when we were all so drunk, and he loved it so much, and I always just really got a kick out of that. But Moana, that film slaps.
Yeah, I'll give it to Moana on this one.
Same. I love Moana. Next one is Monsters, Inc. or Onward?
Onward was the last film that you and I saw in theaters before the pandemic.
That is
I
true.
distinctly remember
That is true.
but it didn't really leave much of an impression. It was pretty mid, and I fucking love Monsters, Inc. I had said that I think objectively I believe Ratatouille is the best Pixar movie, but I think if I factor nostalgia into it, it's Monsters, Inc. for me.
Yeah, Monsters Inc. Easily. I don't even know what other movie you're talking about right now.
Yeah, it's like it's Tom Holland and Chris Pratt as like
Elves, and they like play Dungeons and
Ew.
Dragons to save their dead father. Yeah.
Why would I ever?
Yeah, no.
And I don't love a Disney movie without a ton of music, and I don't feel like that had much at all. So that was the last movie we saw before the pandemic, and then the first one we saw after.
Raya and the Last Dragon?
I didn't go with you to that.
Oh.
Yeah, I think Emma.
No, I saw that though, like right after the pandemic as well, because it was like the only. It
I
was
saw Belfast.
what was it?
Yeah.
Belfast.
Belfast was mine. Didn't you your friends rent out like a whole theater so you guys could like have it to
that's
yourselves or something?
so
Yeah.
crazy that you remember that. Yeah, so we saw Raya and the Last Dragon, and it's like the first movie that I saw in a theater in like 2 years.
Next one is Bug's Life or Inside Out.
Wow, this is kind of tough because I really love A Bug's Life, but Inside Out made me sob in the theater, and I remember being the age where I'm like, a Disney movie shouldn't be fucking getting me like this, but it really did. So I might pick Inside Out on this one.
I'm gonna go for A Bug's Life because, and I think I've said this before on the podcast, I don't think I've been emotionally strong enough to watch Inside Out, or just wanted to be vulnerable like that. So just out of process of elimination, I'm gonna go for Bug's Life this time.
All right. Yeah, me too. I'm going Bug's Life. I love Bug's Life. Next one is Treasure Planet or Meet the Robinsons.
Ah, I love Treasure Planet. I love all of those, like, kind of forgotten about Disney movies, like Atlantis and Treasure Planet. And then there are a few other that aren't Disney, but kind of feel like they could be, like Prince of Egypt and Sinbad. Yeah, that, like, little pocket of movies is, like, chef's kiss. And I actually watched Treasure Planet, like, within the past 3 months, just, like, out of pure enjoyment, because I love that one.
I haven't seen either of these. I'm sure that I have. I'm sure that I have seen Treasure Planet. I have no recollection, nothing. But anyone that I have told that we're doing Disney December has said, like, you should do Treasure Planet. So maybe later on this month.
I would say we should, but we did do Atlantis for Sexual Awakening month, and those movies they're not the same, but they feel very similar to me. Ragtag group of outcasts, adventurers do a thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. This one, Meet the Robinsons is really good too, but I'm totally gonna pick Treasure Planet. You should watch Meet the Robinsons. You would like that one too. Next one is Hercules or Wreck-It Ralph.
Hercules. Easy. Nothing compares. That's like, if we're doing Disney movies of all time, that's like in the S tier. Hercules is just
absolutely
unmatched.
Could not agree more. That movie is everything to me.
Like, if you made me pick between that and Mulan, that would be a real
gun to my head.
But there are like very few that you could have put against Hercules that would have made me even like more than blink.
Yeah, and Mulan is also pre-2007.
Yeah, off theme.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's Hercules.
Yeah,
easy.
As well,
I'm sorry.
Obviously.
Yeah. I have never seen Wreck-It Ralph, so Hercules is the bomb. I love Hercules. Next one is Brother Bear or Big Hero 6.
Oh, both are so good, but we were like a Brother Bear stan household growing up. And I think it's like the way that you got like really little me like jazzed about having a sibling is you were like, oh, it's just like the movie. And I was like, okay.
Like, it's nothing like the movie.
But like Coda's like the little, I don't know.
Yeah. Brother Bear is my nickname for Rye.
Yeah.
Cute. Absolutely, I'm on the Brother Bear train on this one.
Super weird that Joaquin Phoenix is the main voice in that, though.
What?
Jump scare. Yeah.
Now that you say that, like, I hear it, but Jesus.
They're like, yeah, a movie about Native American bears. Obviously, we gotta cast Joaquin.
Classic.
Duh. Like, fuck off.
I love the music in Brother Bear. I love Brother Bear, but I really love Big Hero 6 too. I guess I'll go Brother Bear, but this was a really, really, really hard one for me. Next one is Aladdin or Coco.
Aladdin.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gotta be Aladdin. That's just classic.
Same, Aladdin. Classic. Next one is Tarzan or Encanto.
Oh, Tarzan. I haven't seen Encanto.
I haven't either, but I mean...
It was good. It was good.
Yeah, it was one of those ones that, like, kind of blew up, and I was like, oh, I'll wait until it's, like, free on Disney, and then...
I'm sorry, though, like, Phil Collins, come on.
Oh.
Come on.
He went so hard for no reason.
I bet he was...
So good.
He keeps, like, the, like, shirt off in the studio, because I'm shredding so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every single song in that movie is
banger.
a banger.
Tarzan for sure.
Oh yeah, Tarzan all day for me too. Next one is Finding Nemo or Finding Dory.
Yeah.
Finding Nemo.
Yeah, for real. Enough said. Finding Nemo.
Yeah, Finding Nemo. Next one is Peter Pan or Soul.
Peter Pan. I remember thinking that Soul it was too, like, the themes were very, like, heavy and adult-like, and there wasn't enough like fun to uplift it. Like I know a lot of Disney movies do like pretty heavy existential what is the meaning of life themes nowadays, but that one I was like, this is like making me upset as an adult to think about. Like it was basically like how to find your purpose in the world, and I was like, I don't think if I was a kid I would like this at all.
It's like an Oscar baity Disney movie. And listen, it did its purpose, didn't it win?
I mean, it probably.
Yeah, it did.
I think it did.
But no, I'm gonna choose. Sorry, it was Soul, or what was the other option? Yeah, Peter Pan.
Peter Pan. Yeah, Peter Pan's an OG for sure, with all the like awesome characters. Next one is Sleeping Beauty or Raya and the Last Dragon.
I'll still go with Sleeping Beauty. Because I feel like OG gotta pay their respects. And I also remember Raya and the Last Dragon just being super, like, mid. I don't know. I was like, yeah, it's a kid's movie. Yeah, it's
I was just, like, way too aware of the fact that was Awkwafina.
Yeah.
So, and, like,
yeah, no, it's a no for me.
It took me out of it. Yeah, I couldn't do it. So, for sure, Sleeping Beauty. Also, I think Maleficent is a great, villain, so
yeah, she might be the best Disney villain, to be honest,
for sure.
I'll go Sleeping Beauty also for the sweep. Next one is Mulan or Frozen 2.
Fuck off with this. Mulan.
No
Mulan.
chance.
You couldn't even put Mulan against something more deserving of comparison. Frozen 2.
I thought you were gonna rant about Frozen. You were like,
no. It doesn't even deserve your time, honestly. Yeah, it's Mulan every day. Donny Osmond, slay.
Yeah, of course, yes. Next one is Lilo and Stitch or Luca.
Lilo and Stitch. Luca's another one I haven't seen. I guess I'm just not on that like new wave Disney trend, because I don't know, doesn't really do it for me.
I just couldn't care. Exactly, Lilo and Stitch. Come on.
Yeah, Luca was super cute, but Lilo and Stitch always. Yeah. Last one. Incredibles or Incredibles 2?
Incredibles.
Yeah, enough said.
Yeah, original. Yep.
Well, thanks, Jen, for doing pre and post Ratatouille Disney comparisons. As always, thank you for hosting this segment, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for having me. You guys have an awesome week. I love you.
I do, like, as an adult, I'm always like, this movie's set in France. Is he supposed to be an American? Is it like, because, you know, obviously Gusteau is his estranged father.
Of course they made him American. He's an idiot.
Yeah, well, like, Gusteau is his estranged father, so it doesn't matter what race his dad is, and his mom is dead, so she also doesn't matter, but, like, he seems really American, but the only person who seems French is fucking Colette, or Cassette, or whatever her name is. She's the only one with, like, a French accent. Everyone else is, like, vaguely either just, like, talking, sounding kind of American. I guess the little, what's his name? The antagonist chef is also kind of French. I don't know. It just doesn't seem French enough for me. But I guess maybe he got on a fucking boat from New Jersey to France and was like, I'm here to be your busboy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because Remy is also straight up just Patton Oswalt. Like, that's just an American man, is that rat.
I hate so much, and I like nothing against the voice actor, but I don't like Remy's character in that way kind of thing. It's just that like that is just an American rat, like that's just a guy kind of thing. But also Remy kind of gives me Lin-Manuel Miranda vibes.
Oh my god.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I think I'm just not thinking that hard about a rat. I think it makes sense to me why they would make him American, because to have your narrator, he narrates a lot of, you know, what is happening. To have a little French stank on it, I think would not have sat well with, like, family audiences. You know, it would have been a little
like kids.
Confusing. I don't know. I think it makes sense for them, structurally, for him to be American.
It goes beyond the accent. Tell me Remy does not have, like, Lin-Manuel vibes.
Maybe it's just because he's, like...
passionate to a fault.
Yeah. Passionate to a fault, and also, like making O-face a little bit, like, in the act is a little... I'm like, you don't need to be smelling that soup so decadently, Remy.
Please stop biting your lip.
I would like to think...
Like, I get it, like, eating, like, the cheese and the grapes under the stars, like,
I
maybe
get
I'd
it.
let out a little moan as well. Like, that's my ideal situation, but, like, not at every single thing that I put in the pot and the pan, brother. Reel it in.
I feel like...
You're in a that's not very professional of you in a professional setting.
Okay, rat.
Someone's gotta take him to HR.
Honestly, I feel like some of it feels a little like sexually charged, and maybe this is like me being gross. But like
You did not.
some of it feels a little sexual when he's like, put on this blindfold and I'm gonna pull your hair to like teach you how to cook. And I'm like, okay, there's a little subtext here. I'm like, okay, but I'm gonna gloss over it because it's a kid's movie. I'm gonna pretend like I'm not like picking up on some kinky subtext here. But I was thinking about how if you like have a degradation kink, just become like a line cook at a restaurant and purposefully fuck up. And they will just end your shit. I'm like, Remy secretly, like, wants to get, like, yelled at by, like, high, respected chefs. So he's, like, making linguine, like, kind of fuck up a little bit. And when they're like, fuck you need to, like, he's kind of, like, getting off to it a little bit.
So you're sexualizing the rat, is what you're saying.
I'm sexualizing the space of the kitchen. The whole... It's,
Well, like, kitchens are incredibly horny spaces.
like
insane.
I just can't. Maybe it is just a me thing, but like somebody who can cut an onion really fast. That's so hot.
No, you're married to like an unprofessional professional chef.
I guess yeah. Maybe that is just like me projecting.
No, but no, you are correct. Well, like it's hot when like anyone's talented. But also, like, cooking, like, food and, like, cooking, like, that's not something, like, no, like, people don't really, like, dislike, you know what I mean? Like, most people get pretty excited about food, so, like, seeing someone cook is so hot. Everyone here's watched The Bear at this point, come on.
Yeah, true. Jeremy Allen White is sexualizing line cooks. But we've been sexualizing line cooks.
Come on, yeah, the patchwork like sleeve, come on.
But it's like, if somebody can play guitar, like, that's good for you. But if you pull out your guitar at a social function, I'm not gonna think that's sexy of you. But if you
start cooking for the post game,
hot
at the party,
hot,
we're fucking.
And even if you're good at the guitar, like, I don't care. I just don't want you. I mean, if you're gonna do that in a designated space, but I mean, if you're just gonna bring your guitar into the social space, it's a no for me. But if you're like, I'm just gonna make whatever. Who wants some? I'm like, oh yes, please bring that into the space. It's a yes for me.
Yeah, dude. Like, there's been times we've been podcasting. And I remember specifically, I came to visit you up in Syracuse like last Halloween or something like that, and. It wasn't the morning. We had like gotten food like that day. We got barbecue or something like that, and we were recorded with Henry. And we were like in between stuff, and we were like watching a movie or we were like recording, and Henry was in the back like fucking it up with our leftovers and made like the craziest like French fry poutine pulled pork kind of thing. Just something about that, like, having someone cook for you, like, in any capacity, is outstanding. Like, I want to give you kisses on both cheeks. Like, come on.
Like a little French. That's French,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
If you had to have a little animal that was, like, your sort of spirit guide to being better at a certain skill, like if you were to get a flying squirrel you don't have hair, so I don't know how it's gonna work with you specifically, but...
Could it be on my back?
Yeah, a little flying squirrel who's gonna whisper in your ear how to make the best cocktails. Like, what's your spirit guide animal, and what skill are they helping you with?
I wish you gave me this, like, before we started recording, because this is a lot of thought. They're gonna be helping me drive.
Okay.
For sure.
And maybe
I think it's gonna be
a spider. I feel like what's something with like a lot of...
I think a bat.
A bat.
Because they're blind, but like also like, dude, they can they can tell me if I can merge lanes without me having to look.
Wait, they're doing echolocation. They're gonna do the echolocation behind you and teach you how.
Yeah, they're gonna tell me if there's someone in my blind spot.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
What about you?
Oh, I definitely want a tapeworm that's gonna help me win hot dog eating competitions. I
Oh my god! Does a tapeworm really count as an animal, or is that bacteria?
Yeah, I think it counts. If I give it a name.
I don't think it does. I don't think if you give it a name. Hold on. Is a tapeworm.
Okay, well, what if he has a heart? What if he has a great personality?
I don't think he has a heart.
What's his
Is
name?
it a tapeworm and an animal?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it is a bacteria.
I guess it's an animal.
Oh, really? Google says?
Okay. Google says tapeworm, also called I can't even say half of these names.
Tapis wormus.
Cestode. Any member of the invertebrate class of Cestoda. A group of parasitic flatworms containing about 5,000 species. So I suppose your tapeworm works as an animal.
You just don't want to see me dethrone Joey Chestnut as the champion hot dog eater of the world. And I'm gonna remember that when the time comes. I do think that those eating competitions are, like, fundamentally really gross and super wasteful. I actually don't really think I'd be into that, like, actually.
It's disgusting. It's absolutely foul.
Using food as a spectacle like that, I just think it's, like, kind of gross.
Like I don't hate it. I don't hate it when people, like, one person does, like, one of those big, like, food eating challenges at a restaurant kind of thing. You know what I mean? But, like, a contest, I think, is a little, ugh.
Yeah.
But
I mean, speaking of, I guess, food waste, to bring it back, I don't know, to bring it back to Ratatouille in some roundabout way, I do think that this movie has a lot of pretty poignant things to say about, like, class and classism, because it sort of is like he comes in as the unrespected, untalented chef, and then especially Remy comes in as, like, a, you know, rat, like a literal, like vermin.
An actual... Yeah.
Unrespected person, and in this space that is highly glamorized as being, like, clean and fancy and, you know, for rich people, and they're catering to all these rich people, and the sort of motto of anyone can cook sort of died with Gusteau, and the new chef was very, like, against that, and the food critic is openly super against that. He's like, I don't think anyone can cook. And so I do really like that message at the end when the Ratatouille sort of sends him back and he has to reevaluate his, like, personal morals towards cooking, because I just think that's a really nice thing, that you never know what the effect the stuff you create will have on people is, so that's why you should always keep creating as long as it's, you know, enjoyable to you. Remy, every time he's trying to do food stuff in the beginning, everyone's like, we don't really get you. And he keeps doing it. His brother doesn't really get it, his dad doesn't really get it, but he keeps doing it until, you know, eventually it pays off for him. And I just think everyone should have that, you know, as long as the thing that you're doing is bringing you joy, eventually it will touch somebody in a way that's really nice. I just think, I don't know, that's one of the better messages to a kid's movie. I don't know if I would have got that out of it when I was a kid, but...
Probably not, but that was incredibly well said.
Oh, thanks. That's what I got out of it this time. So a lot of people have been really mean on our latest TikTok, and I was reminiscing on the mean comments. I know none of you are. Anyone who listens anyone who's 33 minutes into our podcast probably isn't sending us hate on TikTok. But everyone's like, these two stupid girls have never worked a day in their lives and have horrible takes. And I'm like, well, the horrible takes part is true, but
yeah, fine.
But I do have a job, so, you know.
I was gonna say, thank you. I work 12-hour days. Fuck you.
Let's reel it in. But I was like, you know, I don't know. I enjoy doing this, and maybe if you're, like, stocking the shelves at your job and you listen to this and I make you laugh once, then I think that that's worth it. So
exactly, entirely.
Not to make everything about me, but
also shout out. Gosh, I can't remember her name. I met one of our listeners this past like, not even like week, but like 2 weeks or something like that. But I was at a Coco and Claire show, and someone recognized me. Literally, I was in the bathroom washing my fucking hands, and they looked at me and they said, Emily, and I freaked out because I was like, where do I know you from? And they said, The Swamp. And I just want you to know that was absolutely lovely. That was one of the best things that has honestly ever happened to me having this podcast. I felt famous. I texted you. I texted you immediately. I was like, Dara, you're never gonna believe what happened.
And I would have never in a million years guessed that. And it is so great that it happened to you and not me, because if that happened to me,
You would have had an aneurysm.
I would have thrown up all over myself, and then my ego would have gotten so big that I would go on a rampage. I'd be like, I'm famous now! It would never end. But also, shouts out
I
to...
strutted out of that show a little bit, like, later.
Yeah. Right, you like bought them drinks, right? You're like, ooh, I'm famous. Ooh. So you were kind of like when Linguini, you know, is doing his little press tour.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
Also,
exactly.
shouts out to anyone who had us on their Spotify Wrapped. If you're a Spotify listener, a good handful of people sent us that we were in their top podcast, which is always so lovely. And we just appreciate you sharing that with us, and then going, you know, through, we get to see our like listener stats, and and as always, again, not to get emotional on the pod, but anyone who listens, you truly like, wow, so amazing. You're also great, and you're also sweet, and every time you know message us, it really makes our day. So always continue. I usually say this at the end, but like always continue to send us your movie suggestions, themes, everything. Yeah, it, like literally just a beacon of serotonin within me is this lovely little listener community we have. But that's why I feel like this is the Ratatouille that I'm making, and I'm putting it in front of the snobby TikTok critics, and hopefully they are.
Yeah.
And then they're telling me that I need to go get a job, I guess.
Can we talk about, I know we talked about, like, how much the kitchen scratches our brain. Can we talk about the food? Because for me, like, the food in this is, like, on par for how sexy, like, Studio Ghibli movie food is. Like, it really does it for me. Like, especially, like, for something like onions and, like you brought it up before, like, that scene of, what's her name? I can't remember her name.
I think Colette,
Colette cutting up the celery, like, it's, like, all the, like, Studio Ghibli does a really good job of, like, showing you, like, porn shots of, like, the food, kind of, you know what I mean? Like, it's already cooked, like, it's sitting on a plate. Like, seeing the actual, like, preparation of the food and, like, watching it get chopped and, like, put in the soup and, like, all the spices being added, like, just really did it for me. I don't know.
I also really liked the way that they animated the pans to look like well-used pan. Like, not every pan was, like, perfectly shiny and clean. Like, they had that sort of, like, browned butter crust on the bottom as you're cooking something that you, like, actually get. And I do like that all the foods that they were making were pretty, like, normal, everyday foods. It's a soup. It's a, you know, it's vegetables. It's not, because I think the way food porn can be, it can be, like, overly glamorized food that it's like, okay, it's nice to look at, but, like, what the fuck even is that? It's like a weird dome of something with a piece of singular strip of salmon, and, like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, there's too much gastronomy here. Like, fuck off.
Which, nothing against, I think that kind of food can be, like, a fun art form and can be interesting, but
absolutely, if you do it well.
I don't think it should detract from, like, soup is also an art, like,
soup is a soup,
as much as, like, you know, cooking something with the smoke of a burnt oak tree for exactly 12 minutes and then hanging it from a hook and presenting it in a certain way, like that's cool, but also, like, you know, soup is cool too, and cutting up onions, and that's also I had a conversation with somebody pretty recently where, you know, it always comes back to the, like, what is art? And, like, is this art? And as somebody who studied advertising, that's a big thing. Like, are ads art? Or, like, you know, what is the process of creating an advertisement art? Because it's so, like, business focused. And you know, sometimes yes, sometimes no. I think it just depends. But my brother-in-laws and I are all watching Mad Men right now. So it's sort of the question of, like, is what Don Draper does, is he an artist or is he a businessman, or, like, a little bit of both? But I think the same conversation of, like, what is art? Like, is food art? And, like, I think similarly, like, not all food is art. Like, a box of Kraft mac and cheese is not art.
No.
But it could be if you, like, do something
spice it up,
original to it or something. But, I think...
it's a blank canvas.
But I think some food can be, like, I don't know, really beautiful in that way that, you know, he eats the cheese and the grape together and it creates, like, a certain visceral reaction. I think I've had meals that have, you know, made me more emotional than, like, paintings. So
Yeah.
I guess that's just, hard to compare because they're different. But I think, yeah, I certainly think food is art. And I think that this movie does a really good job of presenting, like, oh, it's, like, visually stimulating because it's a film, obviously. But, like, you almost feel like you can, like, smell it and taste it.
Yeah. Do we want to talk less about the food that we saw on the screen and talk more about the food that we would put in our bodies watching this movie and get into our regularly scheduled programming?
Yes. So I think first, as far as what you would follow this up with, or like what you would eat with this film.
Yes.
I obviously, like, we say a cheese board every week, but all the scenes of him pairing cheeses with
so
other
much
things is so nice, and it does. I'm like, oh, I want a little piece of, like, Jarlsberg cheese on, like, a green apple, and, like, I want some toast, like, some brie, like, to have a cheese board, I think really makes sense. But my ultimate answer is kind of something vague that's up for interpretation per the listener. But I think the end scene of this movie is he makes the ratatouille, which is, like, a quote-unquote peasant dish. And that's supposed to be, like, a common person, but he, like, sort of puts his little Remy Stank on it. And he makes it really,
Remy Stank.
His, like, worthy of a Michelin star. He, the preparation, the presentation, all of that. And so I think that you do, and the whole point is that it's very nostalgic for this food critic. It's something his mom used to make. It was like a hearty stew. I think I've had ratatouille, and I don't really fuck with it. Have you?
I have not. No. I might be getting the opportunity in this near future, so I hope so. I know someone that is making ratatouille, and I'm gonna bust my way into that, so.
Nice. I just personally am not a huge, like, squash person, and it's eggplant, zucchini, and, like, sometimes, like, yellow squash, all, like, together in sort of, like, a red sauce.
I like squash. I do like squash, but, like, in a red sauce, it doesn't really sound like it'll do much for me.
It's a little mushy, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair.
When Remy's is cut real thin like that, though, like, maybe I can get down, but
there's probably some crunch on it.
I think that the sort of idea of taking this, like, peasant, lowly, like, street food, homey, home cooked food, and then, like, elevating it as, you see fit or whatever, could be a fun exercise of, like, I don't know, what makes you think, like, a grilled cheese, something as basic as a grilled cheese, and you're like, no, but I'm gonna, do it with the nicest cheeses I can find.
Absolutely.
I'm really gonna take my time and toast the bread. I think with a mac and cheese, you could really doctor up. I'm nostalgic for cheesy, carby food.
I'd like to segue this into, like, what my drink choice for this is you make a sangria. Because you can just about put anything in that, and it's very easy, and you can use the cheapest, shittiest wine you can fucking find. And you can fancy it up, you can make it nice, you can add whatever little fruit you want, some liquor, whatever you're feeling, a little more juice, like some spices, whatever it is, whatever you want. Doesn't matter. And with your sangria, I think you should eat, a strawberry cheesecake.
Ooh.
Because it's that whole scene of, like, Remy with the cheese and the strawberry.
Yeah.
So you eat a strawberry cheesecake, of course.
That's nice. I like that.
With sangria, with, like, a nice fruity sangria, come on.
Sangria is sort of the soup of booze.
Exactly.
Think about
That's
it.
such a good way to put it.
It's like the minestrone soup of the booze community.
Booze community. Alcoholics.
I'm sorry, we're rebranding as the booze community. And then, what movie would you follow this up with? Because you mentioned Studio Ghibli, which I had as a note. I think any Ghibli movie that the food scenes really speak to you, for me specifically, obviously it's Spirited Away at the beginning with all the Chinese food. Even though it's supposed to be gross and gluttonous, I still really like it.
Fuck. I want that. Also, I want that in my body.
Howl's Moving Castle, when he's cooking the breakfast, that really gets me too.
I just watched that again. Yes, that's really good. I thought, like, one of the more recent ones with all the food porn was Chef.
I wrote, so my other two were
sure.
Chef and Pig was my favorite movie of 2021, starring Nicolas Cage. I've said it before, I'll say it again. And it's a really beautiful story about an ex-chef who, and it really makes you conscious of, like, your food and where it comes from, and, like, having a connection and a respect to, like, you know, having a certain connection to, like, the places where your food comes from. Yeah. And also, like, he gets the shit beat out of him, and then he's covered in blood, and then he, like, cooks at a Michelin star restaurant. Honestly, it was my favorite movie of 2021.
I've never seen it. I didn't even know, like, half of what it's about, but
I love it. It's about a truffle pig. It's about Nicolas Cage and his truffle pig. Yeah.
I'll have to watch it soon. But while Chef was at the forefront of my mind, I think the one that I feel more connected with is Julie and Julia.
Okay.
I will, because of course, like, same idea. Like, that's Gusteau. Like, that's not him. Like, that's Julia. Or Julia. And I don't know. That's just one of those movies. Like, if I'm, like, already tipsy off my sangria, I'm gonna watch Julie and Julia after this. I'm gonna have 2.5 more glasses of it, and I'm going to be kissing everyone's cheeks in the room. I'm gonna be talking about how beautiful the food is and how wonderful it is, like, that what, like, Julia was doing. Like, I'm like, ugh, I'm talking about her blog. It's a whole thing. That's yeah, and it's also Meryl Streep and fucking Amy Adams. Come on,
of course. I've never seen that movie, but
really
I know the premise. You know,
it's rather good. It's definitely, like, very 2009, but I like it.
Maybe I'll make some sangria as an excuse to watch Julia and Julia.
Oof, do it.
Julia and Julia. That's what I just said. Julie and Julia. And then fuck, marry, kill.
Yeah, last but not least.
Linguini, Colette, and...
You can throw Remy in it. You can put Remy in.
Remy? Okay, sure.
Who cares? Who cares?
Okay, I think this is easy. I'm gonna fuck Colette, duh. I'm gonna marry Remy because he's gonna cook for me, and I'm gonna kill Linguini. Fuck him.
Easy.
And then, honestly...
Actually, hold on. Wait. I'm having
You're having doubts about marrying a rat?
Like... I think Remy's gonna be too fed up in the kitchen that he's not gonna want to cook for me. Like that.
But so you get to be like, you know, like in The Sopranos, how Carmen Soprano always just, like, has her seat at the Italian restaurant, and Artie Bucco comes over and just, like, you know, gives her all the secret appetizers. That would be my life, is that I would just have their new restaurant where rats and humans coexist peacefully. I would have my nice little corner booth, and they would just, like, roll out cocktails and apps for me all day. I don't have to get it at home if I can get it at La Ratatouille.
I think I'm gonna marry Colette. Ugh, here's the thing: is, like, I didn't really have, like, I didn't like her very much as a character, and, like, if there was that nostalgia factor, but, like, she never even did it for me as a kid. But she has that sexy motorcycle. Sorry, you're hearing me, like, figure this out in real time. I guess I'll marry her. I'll marry Colette. I will.
Well, you can't fuck the rat, Emily.
I can't fuck the rat. I'll fuck Linguini. Even though it's gonna be the worst sex of my life.
Well, maybe Remy's gonna pull his hair secretly and do the do.
Actually, yeah. I'll fuck
Remy through Linguini.
I don't wanna... Is that allowed? Can I shortcut that? So that I don't have... Yep. Okay, I'll, like... Yeah, I don't even know how to say that. Yeah. I'll fuck Remy through Linguini, and then I'll kill Linguini immediately afterwards.
It's exactly like how Whoopi Goldberg and Demi Moore have sex. You know, Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze have sex through the medium that is Whoopi Goldberg in the movie Ghost.
I've never seen that. That's definitely one we probably should have done last month.
I just spoiled the best part for you, is when they have sex through the medium that is Whoopi Goldberg's body.
That's okay. That's okay.
But I think it would be a similar situation between you and Remy.
I'm alright with that. I'm okay with that.
And then out of 10, I'm gonna give this a 7.
I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. For some reason, like, mind you, I didn't watch this movie in, like, the best, like, circumstance. Like, I was at work. It was one of those things I had to, like, keep pausing it kind of thing. But it just didn't... It didn't pull my little, like, hairs like it does on Linguini. Like, you know what I mean? It's a great movie. It's fun. I think if I sat down and, like, actually had a moment with it, I would like it a lot more. But like you said,
when's the last time you watched, like, is this in your rotation?
No, never. This is probably the first time I've watched it in 10 years.
Wow. See, that's wild. Why do I feel like I've seen it at your house within the past 10 years? Like, I feel like me and Alyssa, maybe, like, deep into a drunken night, Alyssa has put it on.
That sounds right. That sounds right, but...
Yeah. What if I told you that this was an iconic piece of queer cinema?
Tell me, I'd ask you to tell me more.
There's just some people online have made the analysis that either Remy is queer or Remy is trans. The Remy is trans narrative, I think, is really quite interesting, just because he is of smaller stature than the other rats, and he's if you kind of put it into perspective of, like, his dad doesn't accept him, and he at one point he's like, you don't act like a rat, and Remy's like, well, maybe I don't even want to be one. We could get a little into it, but there's also a pretty interesting article called "What's Queer About Remy, Ratatouille, and French Cuisine" by Laurie Murat, who was a Fordham University queer cinema studies student, and it's like a little 5-10 page analysis on how Remy is sort of a catalyst for otherness and queerness as a character, and his skill isn't appreciated by his community until it's useful to them. They're sniffing of the poison. His dad doesn't. It's kind of interesting. It's not something that I really got out of my own watchings of it, but I've certainly seen a lot of tweets about people be like, Ratatouille, iconic queer cinema.
Yeah. I love that. Oh my gosh, maybe I'll have to do a deep dive later.
Yeah, but also, on a surface level, it does just seem like a movie about a rat who likes to cook, which is also a lot of fun. And hopefully we'll be continuing the fun Disney best we can pick from what is, somewhat, I think, could have some depressing conversations about, the evils of capitalism and media conglomerates and all of that. So we're gonna make the most of Disney December here on the pod, and we have some fun guests lined up, and so we're pretty pumped to bring all of that to you. We still aren't set on what our future movie choices are, so if any Disney films really are, like, speaking to you, definitely drop those into our DMs. All of the information to all of our socials and everything, email, all that good shit is in the description below, as well as just, future month themes, future movies, future chocolate or vanillas, any of it. We, as I said before, got a little emotion on the pod about how much I love all of you, but continue to send us your thoughts, and we love and appreciate you, and goodbye and good night.